problems with the Afghanistan pullout. But there is a growing list of people blaming President Trump, including former Trump people. John Avlon with a reality check.
Most Americans seem to like the idea of withdrawing from Afghanistan, but they don't like the way Joe Biden has done it. That's according to a new CBS YouGov poll. Now, that dealt as a political problem for President Biden, given that his administration is predicated upon the promise of competence and compassion. But it's that humanitarian crisis that should really be driving American opinions. As a logistical matter, this has been a disaster. It should be clear now that the benefits of a small residual force rather than a complete abandonment of Bagram Air Base would have been a far better course. But context is key. And the fact that a growing number of Trump administration alumni are speaking out against Trump's capitulation of the Taliban speaks volumes about how we got here.
You know, our Secretary of State signed a surrender agreement to the Taliban. So this collapse goes back to the capitulation agreement of 2020. I mean, the Taliban didn't defeat us. We defeated ourselves.
A surrender agreement. That's former Trump National Security Advisor and retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster slamming the former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo for his negotiations with the Taliban that had inexplicably excluded our allied Afghan government. Trump's ex-Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, also weighed in on CNN. While rightfully blaming the Biden administration for the botched withdrawal, he did not spare the ex-president.
President Trump, by continuing to want to withdraw American forces out of Afghanistan, undermined the agreement. I objected that we not reduce below 4,500 troops unless and until conditions were met by the Taliban. Otherwise, we would see a number of things play out, which are unfolding right now.
Which is a reminder that not only was the deal done with the Taliban no good, but that Trump was calling for a complete pullout of U.S. troops by last Christmas, which would have been even more abrupt. Now, one of the areas rightfully inspiring the most grief is the failure to have a streamlined process to save the Afghans who aided our military efforts. And on this front, former Pence aide Olivia Troy fired off a series of tweets accusing Trump advisor Stephen Miller of throwing up roadblocks to stop the immigration of Afghan interpreters and their families. Quote, "There were cabinet meetings about this during the Trump administration where Stephen Miller would peddle his racist hysteria about Iraq and Afghanistan," she tweeted. He and his enablers across government would undermine anyone who worked on solving the SIV issue by devastating the system at DHS and state. Now, Stephen Miller blamed Biden, despite his own clear record of advocating restrictions on immigrants and refugees. Not helped by the fact that articles had long been written about how the Trump administration has dramatically dropped visas for Afghan and Iraqi interpreters. So Trump's attempt to score political points on the Biden administration's failure ring more than a little hollow here. Like when Trump's former UN ambassador Nikki Haley tweeted that to have our generals say that they're depending on diplomacy with the Taliban is an unbelievable scenario. Negotiating with the Taliban is like dealing with the devil. I agree. But Haley's comments would have a lot more credibility if she hadn't vocally backed Taliban negotiations when they were being pushed by her former boss, saying, "The U.S. policy in Afghanistan is working. We're seeing that we're closer to talks with the Taliban in the peace process than we've seen before." Look, from whatever way you look at it, U.S. policy in Afghanistan has not been working. And while the collapse finally occurred on Joe Biden's watch, the policy of abandoning Afghanistan to the Taliban began.